All right, you are listening to the Nick Crawford Show, live from Knoxville, Tennessee. Today is a very special episode of the show. It's our first ever show. We're going to be talking about a couple different things today. First, we're going to be talking about the Super Bowl and the politics that have been going on around that. Some different things. Also, what the media is calling pouting Cam Newton. We're going to hear some audio about that, as well as some different things about Donald Trump and Ted Cruz, some research that has gone into that, as well as a bill that is in the Tennessee State Senate, and our very own Hannah Claire Price will be talking about that, and some different things that are going on, some questions some people have had, and so all of that starts right now.
You are listening to The Nick Crawford Show. Current, campus, common sense. Bringing the day's latest insanities to you live online.
Okay, well, before we start with the topics today, we want to talk about what the show is about, why we started this, how this came about, and who really we are targeting as our listeners who we think would be interested in this. So first off, we are a bunch of students, most of us at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, but we have students across the nation all contributing to this show. What we really came together and talked about and saw is that there is a silent majority in America of millennials that they don't say anything, they don't do anything, that they all pretty much agree on a lot of common principles. That one, that we should be decent to each other, that we can talk and have disagreements and not end up trying to kill each other in the end, that we agree that the Constitution is the foundation of all law in this country, and that everything else doesn't supersede that, even though it seems like today people think otherwise. We think that, if you can talk to one another and you can be constructive in what you talk about and really talk about principles and values that are meaningful and are important to you, that you have a place here. We also are going to try to be a little bit funny. I don't know if you'll find our humor funny, but we're going to do some different segments. We're going to do some on-the-street reporting. We're going to do call-ins. We're going to be doing trivia shows. So a lot of stuff is going to be coming here. Our website is nickcrawfordshow.com. That's nickcrawfordshow.com. nickcrawfordshow.com. That is where you can listen to the live show stream daily at 1 o'clock on weekdays, as well as find the archive of all shows under the archive page. We will also be uploaded to iTunes, where you can download the podcast daily. We take calls on Fridays. We're going to take two types of calls. One type of calls is our segment called Campus Wars. Campus Wars is where we're going to take callers from two different university campuses and trying to find out what the outcome of a ball game will be. You're going to like that. That, I think, is going to be a really funny segment. The other one is where you can call 855-466-4400. That's 855-466-4400 on Fridays, and we will take live callers in the studio to talk about issues, comments you have, questions, anything at all. And again, that's 855-466-4400. All of this information is on the website at nickcrawfordshow.com. And also serving as a reminder, we have a Twitter. So make sure you go and follow us at @InCrawfordShow. That's at @InCrawfordShow. We will be tweeting when we're doing live events, different reportings that we will do, and anything that we think is news or noteworthy that's going on in the media at the time. All right, well, that's enough about that. You get the picture, what's going on with the show. First off, we're going to be talking about some things that happened at the Super Bowl yesterday. Big night, big game of the year. I'm a Broncos fan. Really, I'm a Peyton fan. That's all that was about. He could be wearing any jersey as long as it's Peyton. So I was glad he won. I hope he's going to ride off into the sunset, take his victory, and then come coach quarterbacks at Tennessee. But we're going to see how that works. First thing, though, we're going to talk about is Cam Newton. Cam Newton, a lot of people in the media are calling him pouting Cam Newton because of his post-game interview. Now, I understand, Super Bowl is the height of any NFL, any college football player, or anybody's career. They want to play the Super Bowl and they want to win. They want to do well, and he didn't. I mean, they lost, and he was obviously upset about that. So I feel for him about that. As reported in the news, the Carolina Panthers star quarterback Cam Newton has been the picture of joy all season. He has. If you watch his games, you're always looking to see what new thing he's going to do or how excited he's going to get about something. He shows emotion, and that's going to be important later on. He shows his outer emotion on everything. He's had every reason to be. He led his team to the league to be the best 15-1 record, was named the league MVP, and drew as much attention for his on-field celebrations as his off-field skill. But he's had a few allegations against him this year. One of those things is after his team bested defending the NFC champs, the Seattle Seahawks, in the playoffs, Newton tossed a Seahawks flag onto the turf in celebration. A lot of Seahawks fans started a petition saying he shouldn't be able to play the Seahawks again, just saying he did some things that were not sportsmanlike to the game of football. So in this interview, Cam Newton was there. He was clad in a sweatshirt, hood up. He was obviously upset, which is fine. That is absolutely fine. He was upset. It's a big deal. But it's how he handled himself which is making a lot of people upset. So let's go ahead and go to that right now. And here's the audio from last night's interview.
We'll be back.
Ron said Denver 2 years ago had a tough time. They bounced back. You take that to heart when he told you after the game?
No.
Can you put a finger on why Carolina did not play the way it normally plays?
Got outplayed.
Is there a reason why?
Got outplayed, bro.
Was there anything Denver did defensively that, I know you'd seen them, studied them. Was it pretty much what you had seen on film? Was there anything different you think they put in for this game?
Nothing different.
Cam, do we sometimes, I know football players don't forget, do we sometimes forget that defenses can still take apart any offense in this game?
Evan Mathis at podium 14.
No. He told us a lot of things.
Anything in particular that is memorable?
Nope.
Obviously, you're disappointed. You've won tremendous games before, and I know you've had some tough losses too. Since it's on the biggest stage, it's difficult. I know, isn't it?
Can you put into words the disappointment that you feel?
Did you see anything that you didn't expect today?
They just played better than us. I don't know what you want me to say.
Okay, well, you get the picture. He was very short, one answer answers to the questions that they were asking. I don't really, obviously some of those questions by reporters, they just have to ask. The question about the disappointment you feel right now, can you tell us something about that? They're trying to put something in their headline. That's what that is. But I understand that can be a very tough question to answer. But what really got me was he ended this by rolling his eyes, saying, quote, "I'm done, man," and then he just walked away. I think this is bad for the NFL. I think it's bad for Cam Newton. I think it's bad for the Panthers, because think of how many young people Cam Newton, or even just people in general, Cam Newton is a role model for. And he is the top person, the top player for that team. He's the quarterback. He has tons of talent. He's always in the news. And then when he shows an attitude like this, I think it's degrading to the program as a whole. That it's telling people that look up to him, look, no matter, if you should always be on top in life. That if you face some kind of difficulty or something that is hard for you, just pout. Just act like you deserved it, that you were entitled to it, and this is just not a good thing. I understand that he's one of the younger players in this kind of position, but he's 26 years old. 26 years old, playing for the NFL, at the Super Bowl. I mean, he's obviously not your average 26-year-old. It's not like he's, working down at the 7-Eleven and he had a bad day and he's just, no, has dozens of cameras pointed at him. He's broadcast internationally, and this is what he's putting out. If anything, not just as a person, but as a brand for that football team. So I'm just disgusted in it. I think it says a lot about the culture that we have in America right now, that we are entitled to everything, that there is, that what happened to, if you have a bad situation or something bad happened to you, you just put on a good face and you do what you have to do. You're getting paid millions of dollars. The least you can do is for 5 minutes sit in an interview after a game and said, you know what? This is what he could have said. He could have gone out there and said, I know it was a tough loss. Things happen. This is not what we wanted it to be. But that's fine, because we're going to come back. We're going to build. We're going to grind. We're going to make this team better, and we'll be back. And then say after that, it doesn't matter. Look how lucky we are for how far we've come in this. I understand. Trust me. I understand defeat and disappointment. I understand. But what shows what kind of person you are, and really your character, is how you react in those situations, which I think shows a lot about Cam Newton. That it's how he reacted in that situation. Some other people, could have reacted differently. I could name names. I'm not going to do that, because the point of this segment is not to bash Cam Newton. It is to use it as an example to show what's going on. That there's something that has to change. And going on from that, there's even more politics in the Super Bowl. I don't know if you watched the halftime show, but to me, the whole thing was a political statement. Every ounce of it. So from Beyonce to Coldplay, we're going to play some audio of that here real quick, but let's go ahead and start with the Beyonce clip during the Super Bowl, and we'll react to that afterwards.
Okay, ladies, now let's get information. Okay, ladies, now let's get information. Prove to me you got some coordination. You just might be a black Bill Gates in the making. Texas Bama. I like my baby hair with baby hair and afro. I like my Negro nose with Texas pie and nostrils. And all this money, but they never take the country out me. I got hot sauce in my bag. I see it, I want it. I stunt yellow on it. I dream it, I work hard, I grind till I own it. I twirl all my haters. I find no alligators.
Okay, so for those of you that are not avid Beyonce fans like me, I had to go look up this song. I had to go look up this music video, and I watched it. I took some different takes on it. One thing that really the press is talking about, and things that I took from it, was my first thought when I saw this was Black Lives Matter. That was the first thing I got from this, was looking at this going, she's making a statement. These are not my words, but these are the press's words of the headlines that are going on. And I quote from a news story, Beyonce is capturing attention for controversial political message that were embedded in her Super Bowl 50 halftime show on Sunday night, with critics and fans debating over her dancers, presumably dressing like Black Panthers and making a Black Power salute. Don't take my word for it. Go look it up. Go look it up online for yourself and see what I'm talking about. Performing her new song, Formation, Beyonce and her dancers were dressed in all black, wore black berets, and at one point positioned themselves in an X, sound familiar, on the field. Something that some observers said was done in reference to you guessed it, to Malcolm X. This is from the Daily Mail. One of the dancers was seen after the performance, supposedly making a black power salute. Now, you can't confirm that, but that's what reporters are saying. What you can confirm is that there was a picture tweeted that one of the backup dancers, while holding a sign, the sign said "Justice for Mario Woods." And she was surrounded by other dancers who were doing the same salute. For those of you who aren't familiar with the story, Mario Woods was killed by a San Francisco police officer last December. Many activists claim that the officers were in the wrong. Many of them claimed, it is what is going on with the Black Lives Matter movement. They were saying that it was police brutality. So obviously, there was some kind of political message in this. Even if you take everything out, you see a backup dancer afterwards having a sign in reference to something that was going on in the Black Lives Matter movement. If that's not enough evidence for you, the X that was created, how they were dressed, the power salute for Black Panthers, the sign that was tweeted afterwards that the backup dancers were posing with. Beyonce's performance came just days after Tidal, that's Tidal, Tidal, a music platform owned by her husband, Jay-Z, announced that $1.5 million will be given to Black Lives Matters and other groups that have related causes. Now, this came after her music video where I understand that a lot of what was in the music video was towards Hurricane Katrina survivors and victims of that just devastating catastrophe that happened. But if you look at it, some of the things that were going on, like for example, how in the music video it said, "Stop shooting us." It had a cop car underwater, was sinking. There were some different elements that obviously this was not just all trying to raise money for Katrina victims. So with that being said, I don't know why we can't just have good entertainment anymore. Why can't we just watch the Super Bowl show? It was the halftime show. It was a great show, great music, great production, and we don't have to have some kind of backstory into it. Why can't it just be what it's supposed to be? A entertaining show, not someone trying to promote their political agenda. But it goes further than that. Obviously, it goes both ways. Some are saying all the colorful colors and things like that were going on during the show for Coldplay, that was in reference to the 1960s counterculture in San Francisco. Okay, I can buy that. But there's no way the producer, the director, that the members of Coldplay, that anyone involved with this, when they saw this and they saw at the end the words put up by fans, "Believe in love," with a rainbow-colored background, there's no way any intelligent human being would not look at that and say, "I wonder if that has something to do with the same-sex marriage movement of allowing gay LGBT rights." I mean, you just can't. How could you not see that? Let's just go to this. Here's how the Guardian's Needham described the show's finale. These are not my words. This is a different association's words. "Finally, the whole stadium held up a rainbow of cards, some spelling out the words "Believe in love," perhaps also a sweet affirmation of same-sex marriage. Okay, so I am not the hypocritical, conservative wacko that is out here going, oh, the government's trying to destroy marriage, and they're trying to let the gays get married. Man, that's just wrong. No, I'm not. This is something that is actually credible, that is being shown. And everything that is announced on our show, all news stories that are covered, will always be posted on our website after the show. So all of this you can go see for yourself at nickcrawfordshow.com and do your own little research, as well as to look anywhere else. I want you to think for yourself. We are just trying as a show to report these issues and make them known. But the story goes further. But Mike Toms Barnes went even further. This is from a different news media outlet, claiming that the halftime show was a 12-minute tribute to LGBT love, and adding that Beyonce's performance constituted as a, quote, an epic Black Lives Matter interlude. Oh, there goes, Beyonce's up here again. Again, later, Martin went on to say, this is Chris Martin, this is the lead singer of Coldplay. Martin went up to someone in the crowd who was waving a gay pride flag. While he was singing, someone was waving a gay pride flag, and he went up to this person, and something that he said convinced him that the show was a tribute to LGBT love. So there you go. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is not something we are just thinking of. We've got it in writing. We've got it. I can email this to you. You can find it online. That this is what's going on. That why are we being subjected to this kind of rhetoric? So enough of that. Enough of the Super Bowl. Enough of the politics and that. We can always talk about that later. But we also have another topic we're going to be talking about today, and that is a piece of legislation right now that is in the Tennessee State Senate. This is a bill about defunding diversity, but this is not what I'm going to talk about. Hannah Claire Price is going to be talking about. And so Hannah Claire is a contributor for the show. She will be a guest host. She covers religions and politics, as well as she hosts a news segment of the show. Hannah Claire is from Chattanooga, Tennessee, where she went to school at Silverdale Baptist Church. She also went to school there. To school and to church there. She was active in ministries, in mission trips. So she has a lot of background in field work and going out to people and really talking to them and connecting with them and understanding them on a personal level. So Hannah Claire is going to take this and her take on what's going on in the Senate, in the Tennessee Senate.
Thank you for having me on, Nick.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is the Senate Bill 1902. It's already been passed by the House. It was recently referred by the Senate to their Education Committee. A lot of people on the campus are against this bill, and senators for the state legislation came out in December greatly against the diversity department on campus and Vice Chancellor Ricky Hall for his controversial email about holiday posts and making sure that parties weren't Christmas themed, that they were just holiday themed. So a lot of people on campus and in the legislation see this as kind of an attack against that email and diversity director Ricky Hall personally. The bill itself states that no more than $2,500,000 per year may be spent on diversity, multicultural, or sustainability programs. Just to put that in perspective, currently we are spending $25 million, almost $26 million on diversity in the UT system. But of that $25 million, $2,500,000 that they want to spend next year, only 60% can go to Tennessee, Knoxville, which is $1,500,000. So the funds allocated are to be spent mainly on the salaries of those in the diversity department. And as of right now, a lot of the money that is spent goes straight to scholarships. So a lot of people, their issue with this bill is how we're taking this huge amount of money that is being spent specifically for scholarships, and we're going to cut all of that out. I mean, I don't personally know how all of the money is spent. I'm not big on numbers, but I think that this bill, if it is an attack on the diversity department, that it could be written out a little bit better, and that there could be some more details that we aren't seeing here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think my first take of reading the bill, of reading where these budgets came from and things like that, first thing, doing this research was not easy. You can't just go to UTK's website and say, what's your budget? I mean, you can, but you've got to do a little digging. You've got to figure out you got to know what you're looking for. And so when doing this research, I mean, this took forever just to find a budget that was sort of what we were looking for. You can't just say, what is the budget for the Office of Diversity and where does all that money go? I mean, you just can't. So this is the best we could find at this point. These are very broad, general numbers, but we're going to be keeping you up to date on this as listeners in the coming days and weeks on anything that happens with this bill, and we're going to be doing some research of our own, trying to find out what exactly, where this money goes, and if what everyone is saying about this bill actually is true.
Yeah, I think that it's really important as students to be involved in state legislation that affects us as a student body.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's fantastic that, we can do this kind of segment and keep people up to date, because for some reason people don't care. They're paying $20,000 a year to go here, and then they don't care where their money's being sent. They just think, oh, okay, I've got to pay this. But this is something that's important. This is our money that we're giving it. Oh, yeah. I did some research yesterday, and it's something like the total budget for UTK, that 50 to 60% of the money in their budget comes from students, from our tuition and our actual fees. Then the rest comes from the state, and then, private donations and stuff like that. So this is really important. So I'm glad that we're getting to talk about this. So,
and as a student at Tennessee, this is my first semester, and I came from the University of Alabama.
We won't hold that against you.
Thank you. I think that especially here on UT's campus, one of the first things that really surprised me is how much diversity is pushed on us. And I went to Alabama, and the racial ratio there is much higher than it is here, believe it or not. I would be surprised to find out what the racial ratio is at the University of Tennessee. But at Alabama, being diverse wasn't something that was pushed on us. It was more just something that was integrated into us because the student body itself was diverse. So I think that sometimes when you push diversity so hard on students, there can be some slash and some issues with that. So
yeah, absolutely. I've got the numbers pulled up here actually about the different amount of diversity on campus, and it says that predominantly these are the numbers for 2012. This is on the diversity's website. There's more current numbers. I've seen them before, but just for argumental sake, that it says in 2012 the university had 16,800 white students compared to 1,400 black students, and then in the 500s for Asian and Pacific Islander, multiracial, international students. So there definitely is a difference here. We'll have to look and see what the difference is for the actual population of Tennessee. I would imagine 1,400 would be lower than a percentage of the population, but I wouldn't think it would be, 15-20% off different from the actual population. So I guess we can see really where this money's going, and if the whole point of it is to attract minority students here, if that's actually going on. But I guess we'll see that. So, all right. Well, thanks, Hannah Claire, so much for covering that. That's something really important, and I'm sure she will keep you up to date, and we'll be back here on another day to do the update on this story.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Thanks. So next up, we have a guest all the way from Macon, Georgia. This is Tamara Andrews. You can find her bio online at the website. But Tamara is a student at Mercer University in Macon, Georgia. She's studying political science and history. She's a former Career and Technical Student Organization state officer, which is FBLA, Future Business Leaders of America. We are on the same state officer team. So she helped represent over 25,000 members statewide, part of this organization. She was the state president, actually. So she knows what it takes to help lead an organization, to help understand people. She's not a bad person, okay? She helps oversee the public relations and member activities area of Mercer University. in the collegiate section of the National Council of Negro Women. She's also part of Mercer's Pre-Law Society and Spanish Club. So while we've got Tamara on the phone, we're going to be talking a little bit about what's going on with the Beyonce thing. So we're lucky to have Tamara on the show and for her to be here with us. You're really going to like her opinions, her input, what her outlook on things is. So we're just waiting on her. Evidently, timing didn't work out today. So all right, do we have her on? All right, well, the producer says that Tamara is on. So here's Tamara to the show. And Tamara, are you there?
Hello?
Hi, Tamara.
Hi.
Hey, I'm so glad I'm talking to you today. It seems like we haven't talked in forever.
Same.
Long-time friend, well, I guess not of the show since today's the first one, but people of the show. We really respect your insight and what you think. We just went over your bio, so now everybody's all impressed with you. So,
oh, well, I hope you didn't set the bar too high.
Well, so we kind of talked earlier about what I wanted you to talk about today, and it was Beyonce's Super Bowl halftime performance, some different political things that were going on with that, and really I just wanted to hear what your take on that story is. What are your opinions on that?
Yes. First, thank you for having me on the show. I feel that I will really enjoy it. But we did talk about it earlier, and I think looking at Beyonce's Formation song, the lyrics to the song, the video, and the Super Bowl halftime performance, looking at it specifically as a Black Lives Matter thing really doesn't, I guess, do it justice. It's really all about social and political awareness. She's trying to use basically her platform as a global superstar in her own right to bring awareness to not just Louisiana culture, not just Hurricane Katrina, but Black culture in general. As you did mention, there is a lot of Black Lives Matter movement symbolism and terminology used throughout the video, and as well as the Black Power symbols and things of that nature. And that does fall right along the 50th anniversary of the founding of the Black Panther Party in 1966. So there's a lot of symbolism and a lot of controversy now. And then you also mentioned the fact that Tidal, which is Jay-Z's streaming service based out of his Rock Nation music label, giving the donation to Black Lives Matter movement. And it also gave donations to a lot of other organizations as well, including Dream Defenders, I think the Baltimore Justice Fund, and Community Coalition in California. And I think all of it tied together really, not speaking for the entire Black community, but it does kind of give a sense of some of the, I guess, social things that are going on that people are, talking about at the moment. I get where you're coming from about it being, why can't we just have fun, football and eat our wings and, and things of that nature. And I definitely understand that. That's something that we as Americans value. We value, having just our good entertainment. But I think her using this platform as a way to appeal to her audience, her main audience, not she has fans all over the world, and probably extraterrestrials as well. But I think her using
that's Katy Perry. That's Katy Perry and Lady Gaga.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Sorry, I didn't mean to fringe up on her.
We're trying to run a classy, correct show here, okay? Yes. So let's just keep it to the facts.
Yeah. So I think that her using this as a platform is really important. And I think that her kind of using this symbolism as a way to appeal to her audience as well as bring awareness to the issues that affect her audience is really important. Now, I understand that there's a time and place for all things, but I think that, going with whoever gets to choose the halftime show, I think it's a committee and a panel, the NFL entertainment director and production company come up with the halftime show. I think that if they decided that it was important, and they do get the set list beforehand, that if they decided that it was important enough to have her perform that song, which I'm pretty sure they knew it was coming out before I did. I know I was surprised. For her to do that and have her set list and join Chris Martin and Coldplay and have Bruno Mars, and have just that diversity there within those three artists. I feel like if they thought that was important enough, that should be shown at our halftime show. That I agree with them. I think that it was their choice, and I think on the national, global level, they got a lot of people talking not just about Beyonce, but about the Super Bowl as well. And I think that's probably what they were going for.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, you look at it, one thing, the NFL is a, private company. So it doesn't matter, in my opinion, we can't tell them anything to do, even though some people think they can tell businesses what to do. If this was their choice, that's part of capitalism. If they think this helped their brand, then great. If they think it would help and then it hurt, well, great too. I mean, that's their choice as a business. So I agree with you on that. If this is what they wanted, this is what they thought was good, then great. More, that's a good thing to focus on. I also think you can kind of relate this to the Donald Trump phenomenon, is what I'm calling it, where, he, even if people disagree with him, even if people do see how, we can talk about that later, but
a long time.
but they can see that he's getting people talking about politics. And
yes, and that's very, very important, especially in our generation, when people who don't care or don't know and feel as if they don't matter. And I agree that Donald Trump is getting people talking, whether in a negative or positive light, is very important.
Right, and I think that's the same thing that Beyonce, Coldplay, I don't really know if Bruno Mars was really involved with it. He seemed like he was just kind of tagging along for the ride, but at least to me.
I mean, he's had his, Beyonce has also had her halftime performance, but I think bringing them all out was, seeing them all on the screen together is a sense of, diversity, with Bruno being Pacific Islander, Beyonce being African American, Chris Martin being Caucasian. Like that was something, I think, the imagery with that is what I was talking about, not necessarily him being a part of either of their social, political views at the moment. Right.
Yeah, but I mean, I think there have been some good things that have come out of this, but I don't know. I don't think that the Super Bowl is a place for politics. But again, that is my opinion. That we're going to see who really cares about that opinion, but. If the NFL liked it, then I think that's fine.
If they liked it, they should have put a ring on it?
That's not really what I meant, but okay, yes.
Hey, okay. It's. I'm all about a Beyonce analogy.
Yeah, thank you for that, Tamara. So,
you're welcome.
So we always appreciate your insight, your thoughts, what you really thought about this. So your take as a whole, if you could... I'm putting you on the spot here, but
okay, absolutely, go for it.
If your take as a whole, if you could really sum it up into a sentence, or word, even better, one word, is there something that comes to mind?
The performance, Beyonce specifically, or the entire?
We can start with Beyonce's.
Okay, yeah. Wow, I'd say that her performance was, in one word, wow, you really did put me on the spot.
I mean, did you think it was...
Let's go awareness.
Awareness, okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was her goal, but that's what I took from it. It
had to be part of it. It had to be part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she put so many elements together in one thing, and I think that was just basically saying, here, you need to be aware of what's going on, what's happened, and also how I feel and how others feel and what's going on. So just awareness in general.
It couldn't have been. I mean, it couldn't have been an accident. There's no way.
No, absolutely not. No.
All of this stuff came together, and she's sitting down. Whatever she does after her performance. As Peyton Manning would have said, he's drinking a lot of Budweiser. If that's what she was doing, there's no way she sat there and watched the replay of it. I don't know if she watches herself sing, but there's no way she sat down and thought, wow, all of that really lined up. Calls her producer up and says, that was great. We didn't even know that was going to happen.
Do you agree with Nick that, that her dancers and her outfits and, like the X's point to the the Panthers.
Black Panthers.
Black Panthers.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
There are actually, if anyone listening looks on her Instagram, she actually posted a photo afterwards of her entire, like, all of her performers, and they're all holding up the Black Power hand sign. And, I mean, I can't deny that being something that was associated with the Black Panther Party in the past. Their picked out afros, their berets, their black attire are very symbolically or visually the same as the Black Panther Party. And like I said, it does correspond with the 50th anniversary of the founding of the Black Panther Party. I'm not particularly sure that they are trying to, I guess, invoke the same radicalism as that party in the past. But I can't say for sure because she hasn't spoken on it. But just she actually herself on her Instagram account did post a photo of them doing her entire entourage, probably people that aren't even in her entourage, with the hand sign.
So
and
what you're
I
saying
can't say
is that if Scotty Mayfield, the big guy at Mayfield Dairies, happened to walk into the stadium on the 50th anniversary of ice cream, holding a "I love ice cream" sign while eating a cup or cone of ice cream, you're saying that it's quite possibly he's promoting ice cream and knew about it because of what's going on. Just theoretically.
Theoretically, I think in that instance, possibly he's talking about the ice cream.
Now,
but I think,
are you accusing? Are you accusing Beyonce of promoting ice cream? Is that what you're saying here?
No, if she did, I probably would be a bigger fan of ice cream.
Because I don't think Michelle Obama is going to agree with that standpoint. We're trying to get people fit here by making sure that no one can eat lunches at school. Vegetables,
yeah. I think that because of things that Beyonce said in the past, I don't think she believes in all the ideals of the Black Panther Party. What I think she's doing is representing past culture and bringing it forward. So not necessarily the ideals of the Black Panther Party, which some of them were very radical, and based on things that she said in the past about how she feels about some of the things that are going on now, I don't think that she believes all of those. Not saying that she might not believe some of them. I don't know. She hasn't said anything about it personally yet. It's still very fresh, very new. Now, if she were to, say, hey, I support everything that the Black Panther Party did, I'd be like, oh, okay, well, this is something to look at. But although just something to look at visually with the way she was dressed, the way that her entire entourage was dressed. And I think it's more the symbol, because the Black Power symbol wasn't necessarily always associated with only the Black Panther movement, but the way they were dressed was. So that made me question, and I'm still not sure on what the purpose was, besides the fact that she's portraying Black culture and Black history, especially in February.
Right. No, I think that's a very solid point. I mean, it's just like the swastika. The Nazis adopted the swastika. They didn't invent it. That it was used for other purposes before that. So I think it's the same thing. But I think we can agree that she was obviously promoting an idea, even if she didn't completely agree with every fundamental thing of that group. So, well, all right. Well, it's always fun. It's always entertaining. We always love to have you on. So we'll have to make sure we get you back on real soon. We really hold your opinion in high esteem. So thank you so much, Tamara.
Thank you, Tamara.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys for having me. Thank you so much.
All right. Really what we mean is thank you for behaving on our show.
Oh, that's hard for me. It's very hard.
Right. All right. Well, keep them straight down there in Macon, all right?
Oh, I will.
All right.
Hold it down in Georgia.
All right. See you later.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Well, that was nice.
That was nice.
I think we accomplished a lot in that discussion of things that, was productive for the conversation that we're talking about here.
I liked her viewpoint. She was much more knowledgeable about all of that than I was.
Right. Well, all right. So we've covered that. We're going to be moving on. Actually, we're going to take a short. I'm getting a notification that we're supposed to take a short little break here just for a second, but we're going to be back in just a minute. So make sure you're staying tuned into the show, and ready for what we've got coming up next. As a reminder, this is the Nick Crawford Show. You can listen live at nickcrawfordshow.com, and we are always current, campus, and common sense.
53 state wins, and T-Mobile...
Whoa. Listen, folks, I have to apologize again. Look, those were last year's numbers. It says right here on the card, T-Mobile doubled their LTE coverage in the last year. And with more LTE towers than Verizon, T-Mobile reaches pretty much everyone they do. I'm not taking responsibility on this one. Verizon got it wrong. Yes, not me.
Join the millions that switched.
This is a public service announcement that we have a new grammar, a service new to campus, UT's premier academic paper editing service. You email your finished papers to grammargrab@gmail.com for a full grammatical, stylistic, and plagiarism review. That's gramrgrab@gmail.com. gramrgrab@gmail.com.
You know, I haven't personally used them yet, but I think I might have to. Anybody that's seen my handwriting or my notes knows that this, we need help, okay? Send in FEMA. They can't even clean this up.
If you saw the chalk walk out on Pedwalkway and you can't quite read the little boy writing, that was Nick. Sorry about it.
Hey, well, we're trying to get the message out here, all right? We're trying to be a positive, professional show, so we're gonna make sure I don't get any chalk anymore. But everything else was not my writing. That was not me. So make sure you go check them out at the website at
nickcrawfordshow.com, and you can email them at gramrgrab@gmail.com.
All right, thank you so much. All right, so next we're going to play a little bit of a clip of some reporting that was done on UT's campus by our very own Whitney Resides. Whitney is going to be our on-the-street reporter from now on. She will be asking the tough questions, the funny questions, the just pop culture questions going on campus, and you'll be seeing much or hearing much more of her and her segments later on. We will have those post on the website as well. So the first thing that we're going to want to hear is her latest reporting, and I think you're going to enjoy it. Some questions about the Super Bowl and some other things such as that. So we're going to go ahead and go to Whitney's segment.
Do you mind if I ask you just a few simple questions? Who do you think will win the Super Bowl this year?
In my opinion, I think it's going to be the Panthers.
And why do you think that?
I just really like Cam Newton, and I'm pretty biased about that, so I want him to win.
Who do you think will win the Super Bowl this year?
I think the Carolina Panthers are going to win it.
And why do you think that?
Cam Newton's the boss, man. He's the boss.
Okay, so we're obviously, this is before the Super Bowl, and some people need some more research.
And they got a good, line, best line in the league, I think, but I'm not really a Panthers fan or anything, but yeah.
Awesome.
I guess
And who do you support?
Who do I support? I'm not really into politics that much, but I guess Bernie Sanders.
Do you guys mind answering a few simple questions? Who will win the Super Bowl this year?
I mean, I think if we don't say Peyton and the Broncos, then we're probably going to catch flack for it. So we'll go with Broncos.
Yeah, we are in
That's a smart man right
and
there.
Who do you guys support?
Politically? Who? I am not as familiar with that either as I should be. I'm still just kind of waiting for the primaries to be finished up. Then I'm probably just going to make my decision from there.
I echo everything that Will has said so far.
I'm going to give the most vague answer we possibly can and not give you a real answer, sorry.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Who do you think will win the Super Bowl this year?
The Broncos. The Broncos.
And why do you think that?
I think Peyton Manning will pull it out and win. Yeah, me too.
Yes, they went with Peyton. That was the intelligence on the pedestrian walkway at the University of Tennessee. They finally picked Peyton. That we can see now that it was correct to pick Peyton. That I was seeing some scores that were 28-24 in they were picking Carolina, but they didn't know that the sheriff showed up at that game, and he was there, and he was kicking butt and taking names later. So we just had to get that segment in there, that some different things. That's a little sneak peek of what you're going to hear in the coming weeks. We're going to try to do a weekly of that, of some different issues that are going on in the news and some answers on campus. All right, so next, as promised, we're going into a little bit of politics today, just general politics. And the first one is, I have a disclaimer on this. This is not all Donald Trump supporters, okay? This is not all of them. I'm saying that there was a report done, a research done, and it was titled "The One Weird Trick That Predicts Whether You're a Trump Supporter." Okay? Do you have a guess? Do you
Bad driving? I think that's what I picked up.
Poor choice in bumper stickers?
Yes,
Is that what you
bumper
did?
sticker, yeah, I got that one.
No, that's not it. That was a pretty good one. That's probably Hillary supporters. That's what you were looking for.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Hillary supporters. So it's not gender, it's not age, it's not income, it's not race, and it's not religion. But, so if we asked any of those questions, and that question, you answered on any of those things, you'd be wrong. I thought, it probably had to do with education, it probably had to do with income, some different religion, things like that. But all of those are contributing factors, but that's actually not it. The majority of Donald Trump supporters, when doing a psychological a experiment, the number one answer, without them knowing, was that they support an authoritarianism figure. Now, what that... Yeah, I mean, this is now before don't email me and say I'm not like that. I don't think he's our Führer or something. I get it. I'm saying, but the majority do. That's right. That Trump's electoral strength and his staying power have been buoyed, above all, by Americans with authoritarian inclinations. Now, this is from the University of Massachusetts, and they sampled 1,800 registered voters across the country. And authoritarianism, followed by fear of terrorism, though the former was far more significant than the latter, was the number one predictor of a Donald Trump supporter. Authoritarianisms, they obey. They rally to and follow strong leaders, and they respond aggressively to outsiders, especially when they feel threatened. From pledging to make America great again by building a huge wall on the border to promising to close the mosque and ban Muslims from visiting the United States, Trump is an intelligent man. He is playing directly to the authoritarian inclinations of the people that are following him. These questions pertain to the child rearing. Whether it is important for the voter to have a child who is respectful or independent, obedient or self-reliant, well-behaved or considerate, well-mannered or curious. Respondents who picked the first option to each of these questions, so that would be respectful, obedient, well-behaved, well-mannered, over being curious, self-reliant, considerate, they were found to have strong leanings towards an authoritarian. Trump was the only candidate, Republican or Democrat, whose support among authoritarians was statistically significant. So, showing that everyone had a little bit of it, but it was that's pretty incredible. And of all the candidates, he was the only one that showed it was significant that it was towards his people. 43% of Republican primary voters who were strong authoritarians and 37% of Republican authoritarians overall backed Trump. 39% of independents in the poll who identified as authoritarians and 17% of self-identified Democrats who were also strong authoritarians Trump is appealing to them. 17% of self-identified Democrats are appealed to Trump because he's an authoritarian. One more stat, 52% of those voters expressing the most fear that another terrorist attack will occur in the United States the next 12 months were non-authoritarians, right targets for Trump's message. So what's that saying is, even though they believed that, terrorist attacks were going to happen, that did not mean they were going to vote for Trump. However, they did not mean they were authoritarians. However, because they believed that terror attacks could happen, they were following Trump. What's wrong with this and what's scary about this is showing what I've said for a long time is Trump supporters, for the most part, are not following a policy. Trump supporters are following a man. They are following a personality. They are following rhetoric that doesn't line up. Last year, he was supporting universal health care. Come on. This is not about policy whatsoever. So this is dangerous. Not to sound crazy, but this is how Hitler came to power. They followed a man. They thought that he was going to be fantastic. They followed him no matter what. And the rest were silent because authoritarians, they do something very well. If you disagree with them, Ben Carson, if you disagree with them, Jeb Bush, if you disagree with them, Marco Rubio, he shuts you down. He polarizes you because they are so loyal to the man, not the topic. They agree with you. The only candidate I have seen so far that has not fallen to Trump when attacking Trump is Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz, obviously he was ahead of him by a few points in the polls and then went down when he and Trump started going head to head. But then he ended up being a few points in the end and won Iowa. But he's the only one that takes it because he realizes, I'm not playing your game. I'm not doing this. And that's just something really you should consider of how dangerous this man can be. So that's all we have today. Thank you for tuning in to the Nick Crawford program. As always, you can find us at thenickcrawfordshow.com. That's nickcrawfordshow.com. Follow us on Twitter at @NCrawfordShow. We have many new guest hosts and segments coming up that you're going to want to tune in for this week.
Yeah, you guys just have a great week. Stay safe. Don't count on snow. Guys, study for your exams. We're not going to get anything, and if we do, it's just going to be a little. So make sure to study hard.
Absolutely. All right, that was some good advice. Maybe even better than the Trump advice. I don't know. We'll have to do a poll on that. So, all right. Well, we thank you so much for joining in today. Again, we are every weekday at 1 o'clock. That's 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, p.m. And so, as always, I'm Nick Crawford, your host, and we will always be current, campus, and common sense.
You are listening to The Nick Crawford Show. Current, campus, common sense. Bringing the day's latest insanities to you live online.